What's up, guys? Been a while. We're back at it. I've been busy cooking away at our mega project, a full-blown city. Here's a plan of it. This is a rough sketch just to get some of my ideas straight. The obvious black lines are roads, and they all unite townships. Townships that add together and in collaboration create the city as a whole. There's agricultural, shipping, fishing, mining, cultural, municipal, residential, so on and so forth. All are going to be quite diverse and quite integrated. Now, my plan for this is behind me. How do we fill in such a large landmass to account for having a dense urban fabric? Well, this is my plan. So behind me are grid systems. I've been working hard on the food and drink grid. We'll, in plenty of time, fill up all of them. But here is the idea of create cornerstone or aesthetic defining builds that will help define and make a narrative for every city block, every street corner, and every area. So each is a mix of genre, mix of material, mix of aesthetics, mix of purposes. As I was saying, food and drink. Over here will be the retail, and each row is a different type of function, and then every column is a different size. And these are rough sizes to give kind of a variety of shape and size, but it doesn't mean that it has to fill out the whole bounds or can't take up the entire thing. So we're starting with the first 16. I'm going to be releasing videos of every 16, which is 3 rows. Here we have the ice cream, taverns and pubs, and cafes. Let's get right into it. So starting off with this first build is an ice cream parlor. Overall, I was aiming to use a color palette I haven't really used in any other circumstance, especially with all the pinks and light grays and whites. It was very dainty, very sweet, very ice cream. Now, I also am pretty sure, I haven't tried it in survival yet, but the lodestones I'll be incorporating into this build are, instead of a netherite ingot, an iron ingot. So I think they're much more available, but if not, I'm going to find them through a lot of ruined portals. Yeah, so this is a street style city block. They'll all come together in contrast and complement each other very nicely. Moving on is a small old town medieval looking ice cream parlor. What type of ice cream were they eating in the Middle Ages? I don't know. Maybe I should have looked, but it'll correlate with our tavern we'll look at in a second. Same thing with this one. It will probably be a fishing or depot district type ice cream shop, and it's just really simple. These buildings don't include interiors. We can slowly work away at these interiors as we go and actually put these into our survival world. But short and sweet with that one. Here is a just simple, kind of out of my comfort zone build. This was the 3rd build I did, so I really didn't know what I was doing yet. Moving on. Now an ice cream store that I thought would be fun to only sell chocolate ice cream and variants of chocolate ice cream. Very cute, very simple. And and another very simple small town ice cream parlor. Moving on with the taverns, we'll start on this side. A little bard's hut, maybe distilling something or brewing something in this large barrel right here. Maybe selling some flowers on the side. I think this will go greatly in a forested, quaint area. Now, this build, phenomenal. So pretty. I love it. I'm kind of trying to figure out a name for this in lore and world building, because I thought this window kind of looked like an egg. And this is intended to be the Agricultural Township's Tavern. Try to say that one 5 times fast. But I think it's super quaint, super homey, and very, very nice. Very warm and inviting, and not symmetrical, and I think that was great. This is a little pub that I think would go great in a municipal district. It kind of looks a little finance bro, you know? No offense to the finance bros, but it's very polished. And back to another featured build. So this featured build I have named the Blue Lagoon, and it is meant for our fishing. One of our fishing districts or townships. Haven't quite nailed down a name yet, but this is the Blue Lagoon, and I think it's pretty great. I ended up with a comically large roof that then was put into proportion, which I thought was really cool. And I wanted to use a lot of circular windows to contrast with the very geometric roof. But this fish sign's my favorite part. The skulk boxes radiate in the dark, so you can see it at all times, day and night. Finally, our last tavern is this very warm, very fiery tavern with something I'm very proud of, which is using a lot of blocks. Hopefully it's not block vomit. I don't think it is, but this use of acacia signs, wow, what an underrated block. It is so pretty, that nice orange. And it's very medieval. Even has a wattle and daub extension, and it looks pretty good. It'll definitely go very well in an old town area. So that concludes all taverns and pubs. Here is a purple cafe. And what I was thinking actually in this area was maybe creating a cat cafe out of this and potentially putting a little statue of a cat. I've left that out for the time being, given we don't know if that's gonna be what it actually is, but we'll see. Over here is a quaint little mushroom flower fairy foresty thing. Maybe they only serve pastries. I don't know, but I'll hide this in the forest somewhere. It'll be very cute. Very quaint little city block brunch spot. Nothing really to it, but gets the job done. Now here is our last featured build. This was my favorite one. Starting off with the stripes, I was just taken away by them. I thought it added so much character. It wasn't too overwhelming, which is hard to do with really repetitive patterns in Minecraft, but I think it was very, very just atmospheric. Moving throughout the whole build though, I continue the stripes and continue this dark to warm color palette, and I contrast that with a very bright white second floor. Now, Are these buildings incorporating the whole cafe into both floors? We don't know yet. They possibly could very well be, or they could be a mixed-use building where there might be a couple apartments on the top, whether that be the owners or rentable, so on and so forth. But I think this is super, super cute. On the same note, I was super inspired by the previous building. So this brown, warm, homey little street block building is adorable with some brown mushroom walls, which I really enjoyed figuring out how to incorporate those. But yeah, nothing much. Maybe they serve grilled cheese on a rainy day. Sounds quite nice. I decided I liked the fish so much I wanted to make another one. And so here's a salmon and a little pulley with salmon. And nothing to it except that they serve a lot of salmon. Now guys, if you've made it this far in the video, thank you again. I always appreciate the support. And if you have any comments, drop them in the comment section below. If you'd like to see a more detailed walkthrough or tutorial of any builds in the future, and if there's any specific type of build you'd like to see incorporated into the city, please let me know. I'll catch you next time with the next 16 builds. Again, like, comment, subscribe. All support is welcome. Again, Bingo Bango Mango over and out.